Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host for this live podcast. You just heard from Vincent W. Davis about an important Zoom meeting on this upcoming Saturday. Please make it a point to attend. You'll learn all the insights that he has for you for fighting the CPS cases that you're encountering. And so it's a really interesting meeting on Saturday at 10 o'clock. It'll play again if you missed the website. It'll play again at the end of my podcast. So you found me, Bob Pace, Fight CPS on Facebook, or Fight CPS Bob Pace. And I'm transmitting on YouTube using the StreamYard application. I'm on 7 days a week, Sunday through Monday. Actually, you should say Monday through Sunday. And I'm on twice a day. I come on at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time, and I come on at 7 o'clock at night Pacific Standard Time. And I really am here to help you with your CPS case. You're probably wondering, what in the world is CPS? Before I go, I will tell you that on Sunday, I come on a couple hours early, so I go to church. So I'm on at 8 o'clock on every Sunday. This being the football season, high school football season, I go to the football game on Friday night. And I am doing my podcast early on Friday. I haven't got the exact time, but I'll let you know as we get closer to it. So it'll probably be in the afternoon instead at 7 o'clock. Now, I was saying, what is CPS? And a lot of people know it just by the letters CPS. It's the entity or the branch of social services that was empowered by Congress to have the agency, the child protection system, in each of the states and each of the counties protect our children from neglect or abuse. Furthermore, they're supposed to help out families in need in areas of food, shelter, clothing, medical, educational, transportation, and a job. A lot of you probably don't know that, but you may be going through hard times like that right now. They will help you. You just have to ask. Furthermore, they will sometimes take your children, but it seems like they take them a lot lately, that are not in imminent danger. They want to place the children into foster care, which is very corrupt. CPS is very corrupt. And it breaks apart the family. Well, they're supposed to do family reunification, bring the family back together. That's the third thing they're supposed to handle. Now, CPS says they've been around since the 1600s. They have three parts of their history from 1600 to 1875, 1875 to 1962, and 62 to the present. And so they trace their history on saying that they help out children and families. Well, lately that doesn't seem to be the case, because the majority of the people I talk to have had a really terrible time with getting their children back or hanging on to their children, or it's really a hard time economically because they may be homeless or they lost a job, which was in my case. I lost a job at age 60. That was a hard thing for me to swallow. I had purchased a beautiful home. It took me 45 years to get that home. Been working since I was 15. But I too was in the child protection system, caught up in it severely bad. I lost my home, I lost my credit, and I lost my youngest daughter. I have 6 children, 3 older and 3 younger, and I've been married to a wife for 32 years. Previously, I was married for 10 years, so I have 42 years of marriage experience or family experience. And I had 1 child by my first wife, and I had 3 children by my second wife, and she had 2 other children that she acquired during her life. She wasn't married, but she had one out of rape, and another one was almost like a rape. Anyway, the first child she gave up for adoption, and the second child she raised herself until I met her at 5 years of age, and I was the only father she knew at 5 years of age. So you're in this podcast. The first step is you found the room. And in this room, you can do lots of things. You can do emojis where you can put a thumbs up. You can do hearts. You can do smiley faces. You also can send me stars. Also, please check below if you want to subscribe to my podcast. I'd love to have you subscribe. Also, if you want to be notified when I'm live, click the notification button. Click the notification button. Now, a second way of going into my podcast is that you can type questions or comments into me from the room you're in. Now, when typing in your comment or your question, please have it pertain to the child protection system. Please show your first name and then your city or county where your case was and the state. And if you're from a country, it's going to be the same thing: your first name, your city, your state or province. Some places are called province, and your country. And you guys are all welcome. Everybody is welcome into my room that has an issue with the Department of Children's Services system, the Child Protection System, CPS. And I encourage you all. All I ask you is to please tell me a little about your case so that I don't have to play a long round of ping pong ball questioning. Like, what is your family makeup? Are you divorced? Are you single? Are you husband, wife? Are you girlfriend, boyfriend? Are you lovers? Are you a partnership? And also, are the same parents raising the children? Or is one parent gone and you're by yourself? Are there multiple parents for the children? Or it's the same father, mother for all the children? And then the ages of the children and the sexes of the children. And then you want to put down what the allegations were. More than abuse or neglect, something that explains a little bit more the abuse or neglect. And then tell me how your children were taken. That's a real important thing. Because a lot of you, including myself, allowed my child to be taken when they could not be. They should not have been. They should not have been. Now, a third way is to be a guest on my podcast. And I love for very much any of you that wants to be a guest. To be a guest, you're going to contact my show producer. Her name is Grace. She works hard behind the scenes. I want to thank her what she does. And all you would do is contact her at Grace at vincentwdavis.com. That's grace at vincentwdavis.com. It's shown on my screen, but I'm also verbally saying it. So you write the email and you sit there and say, I want to be on Bob's morning show or Bob's evening show. I want to be on his Monday show, his Saturday show, his Wednesday show. It's 7 days a week, twice a day. It's 14 shows. It's a lot of shows. And she will contact you, send you a link to StreamYard, and then you take the link, get on StreamYard. If you get knocked off, don't panic. Use that same link she sent. It's still good for the show, and then get you back on. She'll also tell you what you can do and not do, like no eating or smoking, and we don't use the names of children, judges, or social workers. Also, she'll help you with your lighting and your sound. Try to use your computer. Phones are okay. Phones are okay. So that's how it is to be a guest. You just type in Grace at vincentwdavis.com, and she takes care of the rest. Now, the fourth way you can interact with this podcast is my call-in number, my office number. Now, I have put the number up. That means I'm live now, and I can take phone calls. You can call me at 626-698-0990. That rings my phone. And I'll answer it. I'll answer it during the showtime hours. If it's before my showtime or after my showtime, I can't answer it. So it's right now you can call in and talk about it. So those are the four ways, just by being in the room, doing comments, or be a guest, or call in. Those are the four ways that you can interact with this live podcast. Now, if you watch my show before, you know I have lots of material that I can cover. It's not quite enough hours a day to cover everything, but what I can do is that I can discuss what a social worker is, what the pros and cons of CPS, the bad and the good things about CPS. Also, I can talk about all the other topics like the ICWA of 1978. That's the Indian Child Welfare Act for the indigenous people of the United States. And I'm talking about the Native American Indians. Also, there is Course Digest, which is a question answer series that I can read a question and the answer, and you see if you agree with it or you have a better answer to the question. It sometimes helps us and so forth. You'll find the CPS, the Child Protection System, is corrupt. Their main theme or emphasis is all about money. It's $1 trillion business. They make gobs and gobs of money. In my case, my 3 children that they kidnapped and put into foster care, they were getting $20,000 per child per month. That's $60,000. Multiply that times 100 parents with 3 children, that comes up to $6 million a month. That's just here in Orange County, in California, let alone all the other counties all over the place. It's very expensive. They want to make money. They give away bonuses, incentives to their social workers. And it's sad because not all social workers are bad, but there's quite a lot of them now. You brought me to your attention, all the 50 states, including Washington, D.C. Now, my room is open for phone calls, for you to text me anything you'd like me to act on. And also you can say what things you'd like to talk about, and so forth. And Yeah, I'm really concerned about one of my regulars that said to her that she can't comment right now. I don't know if they're trying to block her or what. This is Faye, a single mom from Richmond, Kentucky. And on her podcast, she sent me a screenshot where it says you cannot comment right now. It may have been a problem or glitch. So I'm calling her to see if she will talk.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning, Faye. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I see the screenshot you sent me where it says you cannot make any comments right now. It didn't say forever. I don't know why that was put on there, and I don't know who did that.
I don't know. It wouldn't let me share the live. It wouldn't let me comment or nothing. I had to leave off because it wouldn't let me do anything.
Yeah, that is awful weird because you certainly have not said anything bad or awful. In fact, you've been very helpful in my room. For all you listeners out there, I have Faye Manling on the phone, and she is a single parent with two children. She had a horrible life when she was growing up because she was in our foster care 5 times where she was molested and raped and hurt physically, walking on rocks and sex trafficking, you name it, she's through it. Anyway, she had two children, beautiful daughter and beautiful son, and the cabinet there in Richmond, Kentucky made her a choice. You can either keep your son or keep your daughter. There's no reason or rhyme. It's like the question was asked, how can she be a fit parent to take care of her son and not a fit parent to take care of her daughter? Meanwhile, she's been fighting to get communication going. It's been 13 years, and the new cabinet or the new ombudsperson is listening, and they maybe will help her. But she just wants to establish to her daughter that she was a loving mother and it was not her choice that she had to part ways with her daughter. That's the worst feeling, the worst experience to have. Um, so she's been going through a lot. She's also, we uncovered something the other day with another woman named Natalie from West Hollywood, California, that was concerned about a lot of the parents going homeless because there's a community out in California in the desert that the owners of the homes that they're renting to Latinos in the area, they decide to sell their homes to the Amazon who are building a big warehouse area. Only problem is the renters aren't taken into account, so they're without rent. And it's so hard because, values go up, rents go up, deposits go up. And they want like $3,000 for a security deposit to rent another home or something like that. And these people don't have it. Even Faye is unfortunate found out that her house is being sold and she'd been living for 14 years and she had a deposit of 450 and they've not paid it back. They've not paid it back. And they're not going to help her. This is really sad because I think if an owner is generating income from a rental and if they have to sell the place, they should make arrangements to have that renter a place to live. Um, I guess I'm dreaming because most people are not caring about other people. So Faye's going through that experience there. What would you like to talk about today, Faye?
I don't know, Bob. You called me, put me on the spot. So,
Yeah, I called you because of what your text messages were. I know that Vonage, you can't text on Vonage. I don't know if you get my messages on Vonage or not, but um, my show producer has said that Vonage is under the weather right now, and so they're working on it. So that's why I called you,
yeah.
and I don't know why, unless whoever is working for Facebook is monitoring my podcast, and they didn't like something, so they say you can't comment. I don't know. Now you're in the room.
I didn't say anything bad. The only thing that I was commenting back and forth about was when Natalie was talking about Wayfair and Amazon and about the conspiracy of the children being sex trafficked by pieces of furniture being put, online for sale for thousands and thousands of dollars.
They thought there was children locked up in those furniture.
Let me finish what I was saying, Bob. Hold on.
Go ahead.
And it's supposedly being attached to children's, names. But in further research of all that, it turned out to be debunked by independent fact checkers that it was put out on the internet by a QAnon group, which is kind of like an anti-government group or something, and that it wasn't actually going on, that it was explained by Wayfair and by Amazon that it was not the case, and that there was some pricing glitches that had went on, and they were trying to fix it, and so it turned out to not be true.
Yeah, that's the trouble with the internet. When they had discovered the worldwide internet, it has a lot of useful things, and good information is worldwide, but also bad information, misleading information, fake news. It goes on and on and on.
So, I mentioned some of that in the comments, and everything. Maybe Facebook didn't like that. I don't know, but I didn't say anything bad.
No, I know you didn't, Faye. And we had trouble before when the rooms weren't hooked up. Now we got the rooms hooked up. So I can try. I just learned how to do a screenshot, so I can make a screenshot of you and send it on to Faye, and maybe she can look into it.
That's just why I haven't been on the podcast lately, because it seems like every time I come on it's an issue, so I just haven't came on, but it seems like other people are on it and they're not having no problem, so I don't know what it is.
Well, down at the bottom it says you had called on the reality series and CPS the horror stories during this broadcast. You can.
What? Bob, I can't hear you.
Okay, well, somehow my phone is not doing very, very good, or maybe it's your phone.
What were you saying? I couldn't hear nothing you were saying.
Okay, I'm reading your comments there and see if there's anything there. And you say it won't let me share them live. Why did I get blocked? And then it said reality series of CPS or horror stories. And during this broadcast, you can. And all it says you can. I don't know where it says.
No, I showed you the screenshot, Bob, of where it said that I could no longer comment on this live.
Yeah, I did see that for a moment, but now let me widen it up here. Okay. Yeah, you can't comment on this post right now. And when it says you can't comment on this post right now, it may be a glitch on their end, because it says right now, it didn't say forever.
Well, it wouldn't let me comment the rest of the live.
Yeah, I know. I think their system was down.
That's blocking you from the live, from commenting on it.
Yeah, but I think what they're doing is that they're exhibiting some type of a problem on their end.
I don't know.
Anyway, I'll send that off.
It happens to me quite a bit on just your podcast. It doesn't happen to me on any other ones, just yours. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's weird. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Well, I have to go back to 101 here because okay, I thought maybe it would come through, but it didn't.
What didn't come through?
Yeah, that I got my wife to take a screenshot. She knows how to do the phone, but it wouldn't let me do a screenshot of what you said there.
Yeah. I mean, I sent you the screenshot.
I didn't say you didn't. I'm
I
trying
know
to
I
take
didn't
a
say that you
picture.
didn't say it. I just said that I sent you the screenshot. So what is it you're trying to screenshot?
Well, there's two buttons on the side of my phone, and you press them together simultaneously. It's post
Yeah, I know how to take a screenshot. I'm saying, what are you trying to screenshot?
your message, your comment section that you sent me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is so silly.
Oh boy. Sorry, Bob. I'm still getting over all this sickness.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I wish you could feel better on that. Let's see what Cora has. Some new stuff there for Cora. I don't have much activity this morning. It's probably a slow Tuesday morning, but let's see what we have with Cora. The other day we found something kind of good. Okay. Um, Here's something about what age should fathers reduce their frequency of spanking? What age should a father no longer spank his daughter? Now, there was an answer from Yemen. It says, from now on, she is new in her mother's womb until the day of judgment. The father must be very affectionate with his daughters and shower her with lots of love. And I don't know what that's got to do with him spanking. Father must be very affectionate with his daughter and shower her with lots of love and lots of firmness without physically violence. That's an interesting answer. I think what the person is saying is that the father should do it with a lot of love, not a lot of spanking. I don't know about corporate punishment. Um,
I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with corporal punishment as long as it's done correctly. A lot of people say, I got spanked growing up and it didn't kill me, it didn't hurt me, it didn't make me angry, it didn't make me want to beat my own kids. So I don't see no issue with it as long as a parent is doing it appropriately. I don't think it's okay to use a belt or a fly swatter or a switch or a spoon or an extension cord to whoop your child. I think it's okay to take your hand and pat your child's butt for doing something wrong. But you need to tell them why you're spanking them, not just spank them. And you don't need to do it while you're angry.
yeah, that's a hard thing. When I grew up, my dad used a belt. My mom used
See,
a
I don't agree with that.
kitchen spoon, a wooden spoon,
See, I don't
and
agree with that at all.
they
That's
would chase you
objects.
around the house,
Yep,
and
that's objects. You're not supposed to use objects to spank your
yeah.
children.
Then I heard about timeouts, and
Timeouts only work with certain children.
yeah, well,
You Timeouts don't work with every child. Trust me and believe they don't. My son is one of them.
Maybe because
and taking things away and grounding them only works to a certain age.
Oh boy. So when they get to become a teenager,
that don't work no more.
Taking away the phone is not the right thing to do then, huh?
I mean, you can take it away, but there's no guarantee they're not going to go sneak and get another one, or they're not going to borrow their friend's phone. You know, I mean, It just after a while, certain techniques don't work anymore, and you have to find something different. You know, some spankings work with some kids, and some kids it don't. I mean, it's a trial and error type of parenting.
Well, what about, CPS automatically gets a complaint from somebody that says their parents are spanking their children, and they come out to investigate.
Social worker knew I spanked my child.
Well, in Kentucky, are they allowed to use a hand to spank a child?
In Kentucky, schools are still allowed to spank your children. So yeah. As long as you're not leaving a bruise, red marks, contusions, lacerations, broke bones, or bringing blood, then it's not abuse.
But a lot of the CPS agencies call it abuse.
But it's not abuse. They have to prove abuse. In other words, they have to prove that you damaged your child in some way by spanking them.
Yeah.
In some states, corporal punishment is illegal, but in Kentucky, it's not.
Okay. Well, I
believe every parent should do what they think's right for their children.
I think you have three groups of kids. You have the first group, which are the 1 to 3 months, which are the criers. They always cry about everything.
Well, you're not supposed to spank a child that's under the age of a year anyway.
Well, that's what I was getting at, Faye. I was sitting here trying to tell you the three groups of children. So the 1 to 3, they have a tendency to always cry all the time. And a lot of parents get angry and they try to spank the child or even...
Well, that's abuse.
You're right.
Your child's crying for a reason.
Right. Because the diaper is wet, need to be changed. They're hungry. Yeah.
A child from 1 to 3 is crying because it needs its needs met. You know, then you get kids that are 5 and up that are crying because they're throwing tantrums.
Yeah,
because they can talk and tell you what their needs are.
Well, I've seen a lot of times that you go to offices, you see a mother having a hard time controlling her child because he or she's having a temper tantrum in the office. And they do it sometimes for attention, too.
Well, I mean, children seek negative attention just like they do positive attention.
And then you got the older group, the teenage group. They're now at the rebellious stage where they want to do things that other teenagers are doing. And that's where it really becomes a lot of problem in child protection system.
When a child reaches 13, 14, 15 years old, spankings become ineffective anyway.
Right.
At that point, it becomes domestic abuse between the parent and the child. Because generally what happens is the parent or the child says something disrespectful to the parent, like calls them a BITCH or you're a SHIT mom, and that child gets slapped in the face by the parent, and then the child smacks the parent back. So then it becomes domestic abuse.
Well, this is some of the answers that I've found here. When disciplining a teenager, you can try to make consequences logical. Consequences should fit the behavior and help the teen understands their actions have consequences. For example, if a teen is home late, a logical consequence might be related to that. What would you do if your child comes home late?
Well, I guess it would depend on the situation, and why they were late, for one. For two, depending on if they walked through the door late or if they drove home late. And they knew that they had to be home by a certain time, then they would lose privileges. They wouldn't get to, from now on, they would have to come in 2 hours early. Or if they were driving, they would get their keys took away from them for a week.
I see. Now, what happens if they come home and they're stoned or drunk?
Well, you're not going to be able to reason with a child that's stoned or drunk. So the best thing to do is let that child go to bed and sleep it off, and then talk to them about it in the morning.
That's a good answer. I like that. It says always be consistent with teenagers. Consistency enforces the consequences, reinforce that their actions have repercussions.
Yep.
Because when they go to adult life, if you're caught out there speeding a car, you're going to get a ticket. It's the consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it says thoroughly be calm and compassionate. Deliver consequences calmly and compassionately. That's hard sometimes. A lot of parents are very angry with their child.
Yep. The anger between, you're not going to reason with anybody being angry, and the child's not going to listen to you when you're angry. So there's really pointless to even try when both people are angry.
Okay.
It doesn't get anywhere. It mainly just escalates everything.
Well, here's another thought here. It says, explain why. Discuss with your team why their actions were disrespectful and why that matters.
Mm-hmm.
I always said, if you live in my house, you go by mom and dad's rules. And so if we have a set time, you're supposed to be home, you call us and tell them you're running late. And I do this even with my older sons. My son is 25, the other one is now 19. And if they're not going to come home for dinner, they need to tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they say praise good behavior.
Yep.
Always enforce good behavior and be a good role model. If you don't want your kids to do drugs or drink, then you're not going to do drugs, and you're not going to get wasted drinking either.
Mm-hmm.
Because the child will see a parent drunk and think, oh, that must be all right.
Right. Well, sometimes. I grew up with my mom, and all I saw was alcohol and drugs.
Right.
But I didn't turn out that way. So it just depends. I mean, it affects different children different ways.
Okay. They also say remove privileges. Taking away privileges like freedom can be effective. However, extreme grounding can be damaging. So if you tell your child, okay, for 4 months you're not going to use your phone, or for 4 months you're not going to go out with your friends, that is really cruel and damaging.
Yeah.
And then avoid physical punishment. Hitting and spanking can teach children to use violence to solve problems.
Didn't know. I don't agree with that.
You don't? Okay,
No, I don't agree with that because I was spanked as a child, and I didn't backtalk my parents. I didn't hit my parents. I didn't tell my parents to sit down and shut their effing mouth in their own house. I didn't run away and not tell people where I was going. When I was supposed to be in the house at night at a certain time, I was there because I didn't like to get my butt spanked.
Wow. You're a remarkable person, Faye. Every time I learn something new about you, it's remarkable.
So I don't agree with that at all. I was spanked, and I'm not an angry person. I don't beat my children. So I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Like I said, spankings work with some children, and some children it does not. Everything you do as a parent is trial and error. If you try one thing and that doesn't work out, then you have to look towards something else to see if that works. And if you're spanking your child and you're seeing that it's causing your child to become violent, then obviously common sense would tell you, okay, maybe this isn't the appropriate form of consequence I need to be using with this particular child.
Now, here are 11 disciplinary strategies for your teenager. Explain the benefits or rules, because that's easy to say because in our society, we have rules. For instance, we have rules, we have manners. And as you grow up, when you ask a girl to dance or how you treat a lady, there are rules to do that. So you got to be, consequences. You throw around a lady and you're trash a lady, then, you're not going to get very many dates with that lady. You want to stay
Right.
calm and composed. That's always important. Embrace natural consequences. What's meant by that? Embrace natural consequences. What do you think is meant by that?
Embrace natural consequences.
Yeah.
I guess they just mean like, the punishment should fit the action.
Okay. Listen to their perspective. Offer a path to repair. Avoid physical force. Set boundaries around respective language. And take breaks when necessary. I like that part.
Well, this is one thing I will say. This spanking should not always be your first option. I believe you should talk with your children. You should sit down and try to explain to them their behaviors and, the consequences that could happen if they continue those behaviors. You should try every option first. I
Right.
don't believe that spanking should ever be your first option.
Right. Well, how do you discipline a teenager who doesn't care about consequences?
Well, I have one of those kids.
I know.
And
That's why I brought it up.
I have been through absolute hot rocks and coals with him because he's one of them headstrong kids that does not care about consequences. So, it's not easy. At 14, he was running away, staying out all night. I couldn't find him. I was running up and down the streets trying to find him. So when he got to a point where I could no longer handle him, I took him through the court system. And I got him put in with a court designated worker for children who are out beyond the parents' control.
Those are good answers. Did you ever take a class in parenting skills?
I did. I took 3 of them.
Okay. What do you do if your teenager's out of control?
What do you do if your teen is out of control?
Yeah, what do you do?
Well, I mean, if your child is so out of control that you can't handle them, then you need to look for other options. Like you need to get some counseling or some court action if it's needed. Like my son was out of control. He wouldn't even go to counseling. He wouldn't talk in counseling. He would sit there and not say a word. Counseling wouldn't help him at all. So I had to go to court and ask for him to be put through the delinquent juvenile services because he was out of control.
Do you know they got a nationwide number for called the National Parent Helpline? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of how I found some of the resources I needed to help my son when he was, beyond my control. And then, see, I called social services on myself. When it got just so bad, I felt I couldn't no longer keep them safe. I called social services and I said, I need help. I said, my son is staying out on hours of the night. I can't find him. I said, he's hanging out with horrible people. I said, I can't get these people to leave him alone. I said, I've called the police. I've utilized every parenting skill that I have, every parenting skills group that I've learned, and nothing is working with him. I said, so I need to figure out how I'm able to protect him here. I said, because it's not working. And so social services and the court designated worker worked with me to put KBC in my home, to work with me to get him back to at least being able to live at home and, go by the rules and not do the stuff he was doing.
Right. What do you do if a child tells you to shut up?
Ignore them.
You don't want to give it the power. You don't want to give it it says, if your child tells you to shut up, the best thing to do is not give it the power.
Yeah, ignore them.
And by arguing, talking, and fighting back, you're given the power.
Mm-hmm.
And so the next time it happens, try and say, don't talk to me that way. I don't like it.
Yeah, well, you need to let them know that anyway. But you also don't need to fuss and argue back with them if they tell you to shut up. You just don't pay no mind to them. And then you tell them after you've calmed down, I do not expect to hear you talk to me like that again. And the next time you do, there will be things that you will lose.
Right. How much freedom should he give a 15-year-old have?
Well, I think nowadays families give teenagers way too much freedom. So I don't know if you want my answer on that.
Well, I think this is what they say here. Give freedom in increments. It can be overwhelming to a teen to suddenly lift all their boundaries. They wouldn't know how to handle it. What do you do if your child says the F word?
I mean, you do what any parent would do. You would tell them that language isn't acceptable.
They say here, stay calm and don't react. Avoid making eye contact, laughing, or getting angry or saying anything. This can stop the swearing and prevent further swearing. You also can give your child plenty of positive attention and praise them when they use polite language. What is stonewalling a child? That's an interesting one.
I mean, I guess they like just backing them up in the corner, making them feel like they have no choices or no say, or just I guess something like that.
Well, it's when someone emotionally shuts down and withdraws from the interaction. It can appear they're ignoring you, pretending you aren't there, and are angry.
Yeah. I just find that with the majority of children, if they feel like they have choices and say and things in their life, they're not quite as rebellious. A lot of times, parents want to control every aspect of their child's life, and they don't really want to give their child any opportunity to make any choices for themselves. And when a child feels like they can't make any choices for themselves, then they feel like rebelling against it.
Here's a weird one that they came up with. What is the swear jar rule? A swear jar.
I had one of those.
You did?
I had one of those, yeah.
Wow. Here's what they say. It says a swear jar, also known as a swearing jar, a cuss jar, a swear box, or a cuss bank, is a device intended to discourage people from using profanity. Every time someone uses profanity, others who witness it would collect as a fine by insisting that the offender put some money into the box. And then I guess as the jar got full, then you take every out for a sweet treat with the money.
Yeah.
You probably don't see what I'm doing here, Faye. Maybe you know. I'm trying to change a little bit of the topics we have in here on a podcast. So I'm trying to make it kind of interesting, and I'm glad you're helping me along with this project because teenagers is really hard. You don't have a teenager anymore, but when he was, it was pretty hard, and it's amazing.
It was rough. Let me tell you.
What is an angry child syndrome?
Angry child syndrome.
Yes.
I mean, I've never heard of it put that way, but I think it's like a child that can't control their anger.
Yeah, it's a mental health condition in children and adolescents characterized by frequently tempered tantrums or
Mm-hmm.
angry outbursts. I see
Yeah.
so many children in the middle of the store with a mother having a temper tantrum.
Oh my gosh. If I told you what I did to my son when he threw a fit in the store, you would be like, what? I did, though. I did. I'm not even going to lie. And it probably wasn't what everybody else would have thought would have been the best thing to do. But for me at the time, it was, and it worked, and he never did it again.
What did you do?
So my son was in Walmart, and he was throwing a bloody fit over Thomas the Choo Choo Train and Choo Choo Track set that I didn't have the money at the time to buy. And this was just a couple months before time for Christmas. I told him, I said, no, I said, we can't get that right now. I said, but we'll think about getting that for Christmas because it was just right around the corner. And he threw a fit. I mean, he kicked and hit me. He squalled and oh my gosh, he threw the worst fit. I mean, the whole store was staring at me. Whole store. And I told him several times, I said, you do not stop it. I said, stop it. You're embarrassing me. And he would do it worse. I said, okay. So my logic was, it's like, okay, you want to throw a fit? Fine, I'll throw one with you. I sat down on the floor and I stomped and kicked my feet and I cried and I boo-hooed. I want it. Mommy, give me my toy. And I threw the biggest fit ever right along with him. And I was louder than him. And he just stopped and he looked at me. He said, I put back. I said, I got up. I said, are you done? He said, I'm done. I'm like, are you going to do it again? No, Mommy. No. I said, so now the next time we come in the store, you know not to throw a fit.
Yeah. How does yelling affect a child? And that is something that all of us have done. When a child is yelled at, they may feel hurt, scared, and sad. This happens frequently. It may affect the mental health of the child, causing deeper psychological issues such as depression or anxiety.
Oh my goodness gracious. Good Lord.
Depression can lead to self-destructive actions such as drug abuse, risky sexual activity, or suicide attempts.
Oh my God.
Well, that's why I wonder about my kids raising up because I did yell at them and that was wrong.
Well, Bob, I'm gonna tell you something. I have one that when you ask him over and over and over 30 times nicely to do something, and 2 hours later it's still not done, and you've asked nicely in a calm voice, son, I need you to pick up the trash out of your room and put it in the wastebasket. It does not go on the floor, please. And he said, sure, I'll do it. Then you go back in there to check. It's still not done. I go back in there 2 hours later. Still not done. And I'll ask again, son, can you please pick up the trash off the floor? I asked you to do that 2 hours ago, and it's still not done. I'm like, it's time to get up and pick it up. So, and then I'll give him time. I'll go back. And then the third time, it's still there, and he's still on his game system. Then I'm done being sweet voice, nice voice, and it's get off the game now and pick up the trash. I asked you to do it 3 times nicely. Now I'm not being nice.
Well, what I should have done is maybe the 3 strikes rules. On the third time you ask them, then you do a timeout. Let them think about it and come back and talk to you about it.
Like I said, those work to a certain age.
Yeah.
Timeouts don't work with 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds, Bob. That's more for children that are, between the ages of 2 and 8.
I agree.
was yelled and screamed at. I was cussed. Heck, my mom even slapped me and pulled my hair and called me all kinds of bad names. But it didn't make me want to go do drugs. It didn't make me want to go be sexually active. It didn't make me want to go beat up people. So some of the logic in that, I just don't understand it.
Well, here's what it says here. I'm not saying this is true or not. It says there are alternatives to yelling.
Yeah, there is.
The yelling at a child is not the best way to correct bad behavior. It may help to leave that conflict zone. Stepping out or walking away from the room for a few seconds can give you time to calm down. That's what I should have done a lot. Reassess the situation. Think about what can be done instead of yelling. I was really upset because I'm going to relate a story about my children when they were young. For Christmas, I bought them a train set. And I told them that we'll set up when we can do this as a family. And I guess they got bored or tired because Dad was always working. And so one day they got the train set out and set it up. And I got upset because I said, I've been left out to do the train set with my children, something that I wanted to do all my life. My mom had a brother who had a train set for Christmas for him, but he was out with his friends seeing a new gun and he was shot and killed. And so my mother was always saddened because she said that they never did the train set. So I guess what happened is when they had set up the train set without me, I felt really sad because that's something I wanted to do with my children. So I got really upset and yelled, and that was wrong. That was wrong. I'm trying to think about things or incidents with my children too. I'm not a perfect father.
No parent's perfect. We're going to make mistakes, you know. We're going to yell when we should probably not yell.
Right.
I mean, you know, parenting is there's no book to it. It's a learning as you go thing.
Yep.
You know, and children learn what buttons to push with their parents, how far they can push them, and so on and so forth. So learning experience for them too.
Yeah. Well, we've reached my time for my show. It's almost 11 o'clock here. Well, it's actually 11 o'clock. It's 11:02. I've gone a little bit over. I want to thank you, Faye, for talking to me and help me do the show. We did a different topic out there. For all of you that want to hear my rules or hear about things you can do in this podcast, please look at my recordings. It's all there. I've repeated them so many times. But we definitely tried to do something a little bit different and talk about how to be a good parent. And things like yelling and discipline are all part of those things. And CPS does get involved because sometimes they think excessively it's too much or something there. But everybody, please keep trying to get your children back. Don't give up. I'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. God bless y'all. And this is Bob and Faye signing off. And there will be a brief word from my attorney about this upcoming Zoom meeting this Saturday.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.